So, in this new chapter, Indian Constitution, the significant provisions and the preamble. So, in fact, it's all in the beginning, that introductory area, but we have classified into various chapters. So, this is a separate chapter where I am dealing only with the significant provisions and some of the significant provisions and the preamble. So, in this, I would like to discuss about the schedules of the Constitution. Schedules of the Constitution. See, as I mentioned earlier also, Indian Constitution has, when we started, 395 articles, then 22 parts. 20 parts are broad chapterization, and started with 8 schedules. Schedules are like appendix or additional information. So, these are very important part of the Constitution. Many of these details are given in the schedules only. So, that is how these schedules are important, and for us also, even in the exam point of view, many a times questions are asked related to various schedules. So, it is a must for us to understand and know which are those schedules, because you look at the previous year questions or even any exam for that matter, schedules are repeatedly asked, and some details about the schedules are required also for us from the exam perspective. So, let me discuss about the various provisions of the schedules of the Constitution. Now, as I said, in the beginning there were 8 schedules, but in the last 70 years of the working of the Indian Constitution, right now we have 12 schedules. So, 4 schedules were added subsequently, and each schedule is part of the Constitution and it deals with a particular area. First of all, when you look at the first schedule deals with India, the name and their territory, territorial jurisdiction. So, the first schedule is about the states and union territories. The names of the states and their territorial jurisdiction, the name of states and their territory. Similarly, the name of the union territories and their extent, name of the UTs, union territories, and their extent and their spread. So, as we know very well, we have 28 states right now. We have removed Jammu and Kashmir as a state. So, 28 states in the first schedule, and also earlier we had this 7 union territories, now 9 union territories, or 8 union territories plus 1 national capital territory. Delhi is termed as national capital territory. So, 1 national capital territory, and we have 8 union territories. Say we have in Jammu and Kashmir, we are divided into Jammu and Kashmir 1 and Ladakh as another one, J&K, then Ladakh. Then we have Chandigarh. Then we have Daman and Diu, and now one more point I just forgot to mention, that out of which 1 union territory is Daman and Diu, and Dadra and Nagar Haveli has been merged together now, and Dadra and Nagar Haveli. So, it has become 7, Dadra and Nagar Haveli. So, Daman and Diu and Dadra and Nagar Haveli has been recently merged. So, Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, Chandigarh, Daman and Diu and Dadra and Nagar Haveli, that is number 4. Then we have Lakshadweep, then Andaman Nicobar Islands, then we have Puducherry. So, we have Puducherry. So, we have the 7 of them, then 1 national capital, the 8 I said, but 8 was when Daman and Diu was separate, Dadra and Nagar Haveli was separate. So, this 8 has been once again brought back to 7, we can say, 7 union territories and 1 capital, national capital territory, that is of course Delhi. So, the first schedule give the details, the name and the territorial jurisdiction of both the states and the union territories. And of course, in the union territory, we have one more category, that is the National Capital Territory. Delhi is a union territory, but a special name is National Capital Territory. So that is the first schedule, the name and the extent of the states and the union territories. Now coming to the second schedule. Second schedule deals with the provisions relating to the emoluments, allowances, privileges of certain constitutional positions. Emoluments, allowances, privileges of certain constitutional provisions like, or constitutional posts like President of India and Governor of the states. President plus governors. Number 2, the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker of Lok Sabha. Speaker, Deputy of Lok Sabha. Speaker and Deputy Speaker of Lok Sabha. Say we must know and which are the posts mentioned very clearly mentioned in it. Then Chairman and Deputy Chairman of the Rajya Sabha. That is why Vice President of India is not mentioned. Why? Chairman is already mentioned. So there is no need to mention about Vice President of India, because Chairman of Rajya Sabha is also the Vice President of India is ex officio Chairman of the Rajya Sabha. That is why Chairman, Deputy of Rajya Sabha. Vice President is automatically included. Then Speaker and Deputy Speaker of the Legislative Assembly. Speaker and his Deputy in Legislative Assembly of the states, and Chairman and Deputy Chairman of the Legislative Council. Chairman, Deputy Chairman of the Legislative Council of the states. Then judges of the Supreme Court and the High Court. Number 6, judges, Supreme Court, High Court. And only one more constitutional authority mentioned in the second schedule, that is Comptroller and Auditor General of India. Comptroller and Auditor General of India. So please remember, we have only after the President and Vice President, Speakers, judges, then only one more post, one more constitutional authority mentioned in the second schedule regarding their emoluments, allowances, privileges, etc. is Comptroller and Auditor General of India. So this is a very significant 7th point. Don't forget, this is the whole, because that is how in preliminary exam we may get confused. 3-4 options will be given and you can get stuck in this. So please remember this, that is about the allowances, privileges, etc. That is second schedule. Coming to third schedule. Third schedule is about the forms of oath and affirmation. Oaths and affirmations. And which all oaths are mentioned here? Again, one important point you should remember, as you see here, is in third schedule, when we talk about, this is the third schedule, please remember, the President and Vice President's oath is not mentioned. There is no mention about the President's oath, Vice President's oath, Governor's oath. This is not given in the third schedule. It is given in the Constitution itself. As an article it is given. These oaths are not given as part of the third schedule. So the oaths here are on union ministers. Union ministers. Then another is the candidates for the election. All those who are candidates of the election for the parliament. Candidates. Not the MPs I am talking. Candidates of parliament election. Candidates of parliament election. Similarly, the MPs of parliament. So candidates of the parliament election, then there is special oath given for the MPs of parliament. Similarly, the judges of the Supreme Court, judges of Supreme Court and High Court. Then Comptroller and Auditor General of India, CAG, the oath. State ministers, candidates for the state election, state ministers, then the candidates for assembly election or state legislature, candidates for assembly or state legislature, state legislatures election, oath for MLA, MLC, the oath, the members of the state legislature, MLA and MLC, then oath for the judges of the High Court. So, I have already mentioned the judges of the Supreme Court and High Court. So, the oath given in the third schedule, do not forget, oath and affirmation of union ministers and state ministers, candidates for the Lok Sabha election or the parliament election or the state legislature election, MLA MP oath or MLC oath, then judges of Supreme Court and High Court. This is what is mentioned in the third schedule about different oaths are given for these people, and these are clearly mentioned. Third schedule, please note, no, see, Prime Minister's oath is same as the Union Minister, so that is already given, there is no problem. President of India, Vice President of India, governors, these oaths are not given in the third schedule, it is already there as part of the main constitution itself. Then coming to the fourth schedule of the Indian Constitution, fourth schedule deals with the allocation of seats in the Rajya Sabha. Allocation of seats in the Rajya Sabha. See how different union territories are represented in the Rajya Sabha, how many seats are there, that is clearly mentioned in the fourth schedule of the Indian Constitution. So, fourth schedule is related to Rajya Sabha seats. Each state, how many Rajya Sabha members are there, how many seats are allocated to each state, that is what is mentioned in the fourth schedule. Fifth and the sixth schedule, this deals with the scheduled areas. Scheduled areas. Fifth scheduled areas are known as scheduled areas, sixth scheduled areas are known as tribal areas. So, this is specifically for scheduled areas, tribal communities. Fifth and sixth schedule is specifically for the tribal communities, and we will be elaborately discussing on fifth and sixth schedule as and when the tribal issues and the rights come. So, I am not elaborating about what are the provisions in, and in the sixth schedule, the tribal areas, these are, sixth schedule is only for 4 states. This is for Assam, this is for Meghalaya, it is for Mizoram, and this is for Tripura. So, in the sixth schedule, only 4 states are mentioned, that is Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. 6 schedule areas, the tribal areas are mentioned specifically for these 4 states only. Fifth schedule is for any region where tribal communities are there. Seventh schedule, this is about the division of power. The division of power between the union list, the state list and the concurrent list. And I have already discussed in some other video, union list, originally there were 97 items, state list 66 items, concurrent list 47 items. Right now, it is 99 items in the union list, state list has come down to 61 and the concurrent list has become 52. So, over the years we have changed, or rather some addition and subtraction in the list has come. So, this is the division of power. 7th schedule deals with the division of power. Now, coming to the 8th schedule, 8th schedule deals with the languages recognized by the constitution. Right now, we have 22 different languages recognized by the constitution in the 8th schedule, and I will be elaborating on the 8th schedule and the languages separately. So, 8th schedule has 22 different languages. Originally, we had only 14 languages, now it has become 22 different languages in the 8th schedule. 9th schedule is a very important, and till 8th schedule, these were the 8 schedules originally there in the constitution when the constitution came into being, but subsequently we added 4 more, 9th schedule onwards. 9th schedule is an addition, it was added through the first amendment act itself, and it is mainly about judicial, the immunity from judicial review. 9th schedule is mainly about immunity from judicial review, or certain laws passed by the parliament cannot be reviewed by the judiciary. There is no judicial review. So, 9th schedule deals with that, and it is a very important provision started in the First Amendment Act itself, and the main aim was for speedy land reforms. The aim was speedy land reforms. So, that is 9th schedule. Then came 10th schedule, that was added in 1985. 10th schedule. This is again anti-defection law. Anti-defection law. This was added in 1985 during Rajiv Gandhi as the Prime Minister, and 52nd Amendment Act. 52nd Amendment Act, which was added in 1985. It is a very important provision to prevent defection, political defection, and unscrupulous and unethical defection from one party to another. But unfortunately, even with this, this is not changing. I will be talking about that when we study this 10th schedule elaborately as part of our course. I will be taking up separately. Then 11th schedule. 11th schedule deals with the Panchayati Raj, the panchayats. 29 matters are included in it, and it was added through 73rd Amendment Act in 1992, and where constitutional provision is given for the devolution of power to the panchayat, the local self-government. It has been a revolution or a revolutionary step taken by India in 1990s to bring in grassroots level democracy, and it is quite, we have achieved a lot in the last 30 years, almost 30 years. Definitely we are able to increase the, the what you call grassroots level democracy, and that is the 11th schedule, that was in 1992. Similarly, the 12th schedule, it deals with the municipalities. 18 matters are given in this, and 74th Amendment Act of 1992 again, 74th Amendment Act of 1992. So, thus India has 12 schedules, originally 8 schedules, 4 more were added subsequently, and these are important components of our constitution dealing with specific areas, as I mentioned, in these 12 schedules separately. And this is a very important area for exam point of view, especially in the multiple choice question. So many questions are asked relating to which schedule, match the following and this and that. So, this is a very important one, you must remember, and you have to memorize it properly. So, that is all about the schedules.